We'll now start the Parish Council meeting. We'll have a short open floor, because I hope most of the questions have been answered, but I know Steve wants to raise a particular one. So if you would be conscious of time, Steve, I think you can take it that we've all read the emails that you and two other residents have submitted on this topic.
Yeah, I just wanted to reinforce the issues raised by the residents in the letters. It came as a surprise to the residents of Shepperton Close, especially on the far side near the new dog waste bin. It came without any consultation, it just appeared. We believe it's not an appropriate place for a dog waste bin, and I'll outline why we believe that. It's actually right in front of some people's lounge windows. So Shepperton Close is a very pleasant outlook, a very pleasant place. To have a dog bin just to clear in front of your lounge window, I think is a bit unfair to some of those residents on that side of Shepperton Close. It's not pleasant. It's going to smell in the summer. There's lots of people visiting it already. It's bags of excrement being deposited there. The smell has gone, you can hear the lid banging, but what's actually happening? Shepperton Close is a wide open close. It's actually got very good access. We're right on the edge of the village. It's very easy just to drive into Shepperton Close and park up. So we've always had a stream of people coming to Shepperton and walking from Shepperton to the river. What's actually happening now, we're seeing many new dogs. This is no disrespect to the dog walkers of the village, but we're seeing many new dogs coming to Shepperton Close, coming by foot, coming by car, and depositing their waste. It's kind of turned the area into a dog toilet, and it's getting lots of visitors. We would like you to reconsider the dog bin in Shepperton Close, and perhaps put it somewhere more suitable, or move it to a part where it's really needed. But outside of somebody's lounge window, it's not appropriate.
Okay. All right, Steve. I mean, this is actually on our agenda tonight, and I think rather than duplicating things, we'll have the discussion on the agenda. However, I will make a couple of points. To my knowledge, this is the fourth time that the council's made a decision based on requests from residents. This dog bin was installed at the request of residents from Shepperton, who said, this is we are the only estate that doesn't have a dog litter bin. We feel, that's not fair. But this is the fourth time when we've made a decision. Then other residents have objected to the decision and has asked the council to relocate an item, whether it's the SIDS or dog bins in a couple of cases, something else. And that is just a waste of public money. And the reason it arises is because residents, with due respect, don't look at the agenda of the meetings when decisions are being made. And then they sort of come back afterwards and say, oh, we don't like that, can you do it? And it's a real waste of public money. And you may or may not know, but with the SID where residents asked for it to be relocated, we did ask them to contribute to the cost of that relocation, which they have said that they will do. This business of consultation, I mean, we do consult on quite a lot of matters where it has a wide effect in the village, but it's just not practical to consult on every decision that we make. And we probably make 2 or 3 decisions in every one of our meetings. And you'll know this because you're an ex-parish council. I mean, yourself, indeed, you're an ex-vice chair, I think. Now, I think we're pretty good at consulting, but when you want to consult, you do actually have to put round leaflets through people's doors. You can't just do it on Facebook. They've got to be collected in some form, and that requires quite a lot of man effort, and you just can't do it for every decision that you're going to make. I just have to say, and this is a point generally to residents, that, you know, it's worth spending a couple of minutes every month just looking at the agenda to make sure there's nothing you object to, whether it's a planning application that you don't like and you want parish council to raise an objection or be aware of an objection, or any of the other decisions that we come. Just as a matter of protocol, and I think this was probably true in your time because it is based on model standing orders, but you can't actually reverse a decision just in an ordinary way of having a resolution. You do actually have to have 3 councillors have to give the proper officer, I think, written notice anyway that you want to resize a decision. So we could reverse the decision next month, but we can't actually reverse it this month. Yeah, and that's if 3 councillors are prepared to support it. But it will be you know, considered. I am a bit dismayed that, you know, I think 3 residents have now written to oppose it. And we'll obviously have to consider that because it's not our job to, you know, to go around annoying residents. But on the other hand, we do have to provide facilities. And certainly 10 years ago, there was an awful lot of dog mess on the streets in the village. And then when Parish Council started deploying dog bins, it has reduced. So it's at a minimal level now. But there we go. It will be discussed under item 7.4 later on. So does anyone else want to respond? I mean, I'd rather councillors didn't respond with what they're going to say under 7.4, but and I will be asking at that stage, Dave, you and Russell, as the lead of doggy business to respond. Do you want to say anything now?
No, I mean, I think you've covered most of it. Really, this it for me, it's a little bit. I mean, just all. I'm going to say the same thing later on. So I don't mind repeating myself. Okay, I'll wait. I'll wait.
I'm not the lead on doggy matters.
Okay.
From our side, just in response to that, I understand the council has to make a decision. I understand the council has to move forward with things. But from the residents' side, it does look like it's been placed for the convenience of the contractor, just to pop down in his van and change it. As a resident, we do understand the cost of these things and how many there is around the village. I mean, there's at least 3 on the Shepperton south side. At the end of the day, they're costing the residents money. Yeah, so I do hope, with all respect, that the council do consider this and do come to the right decision on this and do look into it. I think the residents will be mostly disappointed if there's no decision and there's an offer from these residents to actually help you use it. Yeah, so yeah, we're kind of not, we're not looking at the cost of being prohibitive to moving it. We'd just like the right thing to be done anyway.
Ian, yes.
Steve, you weren't on the parish council, and you tell me every month you don't look at our minutes. You do copy things because a lot of people are online watching this. You've had everything. You say I've been consulted. We have made this. This has been on our agenda for about 18 months, I believe. You can't tell me you haven't had a chance to come and give your voice on this particular subject.
I work for an international company and do a lot of travel, and I can honestly say I do not read the minutes every month because I keep an eye on the major things in the village. I have not seen this on the minutes, but I will check when it was minuted and what the decision was. Yeah, and whether you specified the location in the decision, I will look at that. So please excuse me for not being well informed or keeping myself informed. I accept that.
I think it's the minutes aren't quite lengthy. It is in the minutes, by the way, and what it says is there was a discussion as well. Yeah. But it's more a matter. I'm just saying for residents generally to. Yeah, it does. It says there was a drawing presented. There was a drawing presented, and it said, "This is where on the green it should be, which is over the road from the houses." But the point I'm making is not really that you plough through the minutes because they are quite voluminous. If you just skim through the agenda items, and then which is quite quick, then you know you will.
I accept
Yeah.
that. I accept that. Yes.
Okay, Steve.
Okay,
All right, we'll
thank you.
pick it up later on in the meeting. Then.
With all respect, we're just asking if something can be done.
Okay. All right, Steve. Does anyone else want to speak in the open forum? We'll move on. Okay. So we will now start the Parish Council meeting itself. Where have I got to with mine? There we go. So apologies for absence from Steve Bradbury by way of holiday. Any declarations of interest in any of the agenda items, please? No. Rather than that. Approve the minutes of the 4th of March as a true and accurate record. You proposed, Darren seconding, and all of us, yeah, unanimous. So we now move to Clerk's report.
Is there any declaration of interest about the community space?
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. Well, I think yes, Russell and I will need to declare an interest in item 7.9. Thank you, Jackie. We'll have to move out on that. So I would ask that Russell is able to make a short speech just to introduce the topic, because otherwise you won't know what we're talking about or why. But we'll just have to pop into the kitchen. Somebody else might have to chair the meeting then. Yeah, they will. I don't think for the village shop, because that's the land to the parish council. It's not the shop association. Right, thank you very much for that, Jackie. So Clerk's report. Is that on the never got folder?
It's not on the folder.
Sorry,
Yeah.
mine's not. Well,
Well,
I'll send it round. Is it good? Yeah.
can I just skim it? So, right. The first four are just for information. Number 5 is about the drain repair in Castlefield, and Councillor Markham will meet with the clerk there.
I was going to do it today, but obviously with the
Yeah.
weather as it was.
Yeah. The next 3 are just for information. Number 9 is authority for online banking. It's only Russell and myself that are set up. We do need the others to be set up with some urgency, because Russell is away from
Yeah.
into the week. So
The forms
Need-
have gone in, but I don't know how that takes it long.
Yeah. because otherwise we'll be back to checks next month.
You got one.
The defibrillators are away for being maintenance service. We're waiting for the land, a contract for the transfer of the land at the shop. The others are just carrying forward items. And then there's a huge list of the Milton Keynes Council Highways Department stuff, which we discuss regularly. Okay, I think if you'll trust me on this, we'll move through that. Ward Councillor's report. Did you have anything else to add, Liam, to what you said?
Probably not, no.
No, that's fair enough. I mean, I'm going to do the same with the next one, which is the clubhouse report. I reported it in the annual parish meeting, so I won't do it again. School engagement. Oh, I did mean to post this, which I managed to admit, but just to summarise, I did send a note out, but Ian won't have had it. But just for everyone's knowledge, the school are looking at using the S106 that we got for them to put an extension on the back. I think that's happening, and they're likely to actually create a preschool. I had a meeting up there. Well, the meeting was with the children, which was quite interesting. They wanted me to talk to the children about the parish council, which, as they were 8 years old, You'll tell the family in a minute, won't you? I saw the head teacher afterwards, and I did stress that we much prefer the preschool to be down here in the village hall and for them to use the for other things. But I did say that there is this S106 money for a preschool, and frankly, I'd sooner the school used it than it got returned to the developer in the city this time.
Agree.
So yeah, there was something else that.
The wildlife area.
Oh yes, the wildlife area. So they also had asked whether they could have part of the wildlife area up at the sports ground for use pretty much exclusively by them. And I have we actually got that on the agenda? No, we haven't. Oh, no, we haven't, because my response to her was if she would like to go up, have a look at the wildlife area and come back with a proposal to the parish council, then we could, we could consider it, but, we can't just do it in principle. But I mean, the wildlife area is not greatly used. It has got a little seating area with those bits of tree there that they can sit on, which, I personally would be quite supportive of it getting better use. Yeah.
My concern there is that manhole, the drain that goes in there, that is, youngsters are going to keep going up there, and it could be a dangerous thing, but that hole has got to be meshed over somehow.
Yeah,
it can't be.
Well, I think she is, the head teacher is very, very health and safety aware. And I think when she goes up there and has a look,
She might give me a ring. I'll get there.
Well, I'm at the moment. I'm waiting to hear from her. I'm sure she'll have other things.
Should have to do a risk assessment anyway.
Yeah, well,
Every single time.
Technical term, risk assessment.
Right. So that was that. So if we can move then into section 5 on planning applications. And again, I'm going to try and move us through this reasonably quickly. There's a discharge of conditions which we don't normally comment on for Cosgrove Park for approvals of where they're putting more of the park homes. Any comments?
Well, on that Cosgrove one, I like the way they've sent us a decent plan and shows you all the scale how it's going to be used and where it's going. They say Station Yard's been discharged. We haven't seen any maps where the stormwater or the sewer's going.
Have they actually discharged the section on the surface water?
I thought it said in large meetings.
No, I think they got other conditions discharged. I thought the surface water was still outstanding. Yeah,
If you would,
check on that.
I think that's good of Cosgrove to send through what they've said.
Yeah.
Although we disagree with them going down the drive, but.
Yeah. Okay, 5.2 was our own non-material amendment at Clerk Close. I'm going to mention this without names, but I mean, there were 2 people who did submit objections to this, despite that I did ask them not to. Fortunately, that wasn't upheld. If it had been upheld, the cost to the council, to the parish, would have been horrendous. I mean, we would be looking about the same as our precept again. So we'd have a choice of either putting it up by 100% or borrowing another 40,000. I mean, it was, because we know there's 25,000 alone for the RAPs. Anyway, fortunately, it was approved, so it didn't come to pass. Lodge Farmhouse and Wolverton Road, erection of a new agricultural building. This is actually not in the business park. This is in the farm on the left, just before you go in. He's got farm buildings, if you've not looked at this, which have like a square with a missing bit in it, and it's just to fill in the missing bit. And there's one objection from the resident who lives at the junction, really complaining about the access road not being wide enough for lorries, which I have some sympathy for. But in terms of the building itself, I think it's not, a huge more out there.
You won't hardly notice it even coming on Haverford.
It does fit in with the other.
Yeah, I think it's more the extra vehicle use on that road, but does anyone want to consider an objection? No. Then there are 2 planning enforcements. One is at the Cosgrove Park, and we know from Tony Brace, who's usually here, that Cosgrove have believed that people were occupying the holiday lodges during the closure period, and obviously there's now an enforcement action about that, which will resolve it. But I mean, we don't comment on enforcement actions. And similarly, there's a planning enforcement for 15 Station Road, which when I looked at the paperwork for it, it appears that they were, they'd actually applied for planning permission and were told that it was, what's it called, a permitted development, and therefore didn't require planning permission. And now, 10 years later, Milton Keynes Council was saying, oh yes, it does. Or oh yes, it may do. Right, section 6.
Can you just mention the tree, the silver birch tree that came in after?
If you don't, I will have to declare it interesting because it's not a tree.
Oh, was it?
Oh.
I don't know. 4,000.
Yes.
Do
Right,
you know?
yeah,
Well, it's.
Should I refuse myself then? It's not. Actually,
well, it's a reduction of height, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't normally worry about reductions of heights. Does anyone want to concern about it? If anyone wants to discuss it, Russell will go and help himself in the loo or something. No? Okay. Thank you. It's not on the agenda anyway, so councillors would have to do it individually.
Well, it's whether you wanted the next meeting.
Yeah, well, no one wants it
Yeah,
now.
no.
Right, so I'm just going to run through section 6 fairly quickly. These are planning applications that have previously been considered and where there's feedback. So we don't have to discuss it because we've already discussed it and made our comments. So we've got the item down at Cosgrove that the gentleman spoke about in the parish meeting. There's an appeal against refusal of use for a dog walking area down at Leamington Farm, which it was refused, so they're appealing. Three Lodge Farm Court has some changes approved. 49 Shepperton had the removal of a Scots pine approved. There was a discharge of conditions for some of the work at Cosgrove Park, which is still being considered. And at 33 North Street, Castlethorpe, the removal of 2 trees. Now, this is an interesting one. It was approved, but we did actually say that we would like the Milton Keynes arborologist to look at it because the trees were healthy. I did look at the report, and I have to say I'm not hugely impressed with it. What the arborologist said was that the trees were healthy, but were not particularly outstanding specimens. And he then erroneously said, and one may not even be in the conservation area, which it is. It is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Just.
Well, the edge of the conservation area is the bottom of the gardens that are running along on North Street. So if it's in the garden of North Street, it's in the conservation area.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know where we go on this, because our approach has always been that if trees are healthy, they should not be removed. Or if there's a good reason for them to be removed, then another tree should be planted in its stead, and that should be a condition of removal. But I don't know if anyone wants to feel we ought to take this further, or whether we just take it on the chin.
I don't think you'll win personally, because the
Well-
Milton Keynes Council don't seem to care anymore.
Well, there is that.
It was
You can't get this reversed. They've been given permission. The point is the principle of when healthy trees are going to be allowed to be removed.
Yeah, but when Milton Keynes said their arborists and said about this, why did we then have to have people from Newmarket to come and look at the trees in Castlethorpe? Because Milton Keynes ain't got a proper arborist.
I agree with what you said, Chair, but off the back of the dog, we can't get this changed, but can we say, when you take a tree down, you replace it with a new tree.
Well, I mean,
We can't force that.
yeah, we can't set a policy like that ourselves unless we put it in something like the neighbourhood plan,
Yeah.
when next time we modify it. But what we could do is to ask Milton Keynes to clarify what their policy is towards trees.
Yeah.
And are they actually going to withhold it like, are they actually going to, what's the word I'm looking for, implement it?
Can I?
You can't see the trees from the North Street, can you?
From the road, no, you can from
From
close.
your,
Yeah. All right. We've got a part 2 to the meeting. Basically, this is where we just consider confidential quotes actually for work, where people put in quotes, and obviously that's a contractual matter, so we don't disclose their what they do. And we've got one staff matters put in as well. So I propose that. Can I have a seconder, please?
Yeah,
That's
fine.
Darren, and we're all in favour. 7.2 is that the Parish Council pays the utility charges at the sports ground from December through to April, rather than it being charged to Castlethorpe Sports Association. Steve had raised this actually as really just being only fair, given that the usage over that period will have been for the construction of the clubhouse, not used by the sports societies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah. I'll propose that.
Yeah.
All agree. Right, now we come on to the lengthy one now, which I'm going to hand over to Councillor Hines to.
We've actually got 7.3.
Yeah,
That's
7.3.
that is 7.3. I think he's been flippant.
Oh.
I actually don't think we should support this. There's nothing in here to support. Really.
Yeah.
All it is giving little stickers out for people to put on and say.
Right, so some members of the public know what we're talking about. This is a letter that we received from a group called Hedgehogs R Us, which is trying to create pathways for hedgehogs around the country, and in particular, actually, in urban areas. I have to say, I did look at the leaflet. I mean, basically, it's asking people to cut out little holes in their fences and put a kind of little doorway type thing so the hedgehog can get through from one garden to another. I suspect it's more appropriate for urban
Without doubt.
I mean, I've got a hedgehog. Well, I haven't actually, much to my annoyance, because my neighbour feeds it better than I do. And it stays in his garden, despite the fact I have a magnificent hedgehog house in my garden, which has never been occupied.
Mine neither.
So
Built by Lawrence
I
Chapman.
very agree. So anyway, does anyone want to pursue this?
I think that people are very aware of hedgehogs in the
Exactly.
village,
Yeah.
and they
Exactly.
know what to do.
No.
Well said.
Right, so in that case, we do now move to 7.4, which is the dog waste bin. So, Dave, do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start. I've been a bit disappointed with the reactions, to be honest, because the first thing, we put a dog bin in Shepperton because we were asked to by the residents. So the fact that we've had 3 people objecting from Shepperton, I think that's fair enough. Everyone's entitled to an objection, but you're not representing the whole Shepperton, because the bin has gone there in the first place because it was requested by Shepperton residents. The second thing I'd say is that a lot of what I've read in terms of the objections, I've got one just outside my house.
I've got one next door.
A lot of things that have been said, like the dangers and everything, that just doesn't exist. It's certainly not been an issue, but that's one that's had for about 5 years. It's not been a problem. But there are other things which I do understand. I would agree. Is that where the bus stop is for the kids?
No.
School bus in the morning.
No.
it's like Shepperton Green.
Yeah, I know Shepperton Green.
The
But
bus
no,
doesn't stop back.
No, the school bus. Okay.
Turn at the end.
Turn it,
So, you're allowing us to comment.
No,
So
no.
if we request my No, not really.
There's two closes on Shepperton. There's our area and there's around the other area. Did the request come from our area or around the other area?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
The came from Shepperton.
Yeah,
Is
well-
the green bit, is that as you walk into Shepperton on Station Road, is that the bit on the left?
It's the,
Yeah,
if you drive into Shepperton, there's a little close about 100 metres in.
Yeah, with the houses that are set back
Yeah,
from the road and
It's
there's
the
green
green,
in front
it's
of
the
it.
green bit, that's
that's it, yeah.
You see, I can sort of understand, I have to say that if I had children, I really wouldn't want a load of dogs pooing all over the place. Doesn't matter if they pick up off the cell, they can leave residue. I'm
yeah.
just saying,
I've
my
got to be honest, my
opinion,
wife's disagreed with me. So
Yeah, I-
disagrees with the objections.
particularly if the children want to play on that, I absolutely get it.
The reason why the residents requested this was because of the dog piling actually on the green. That's the reason why they objected it. And the reason, and the place where it was cited was where they used to go a waste bin which fell apart and the Milton Keynes Council refused to replace it. So that was the reason for the citing.
The waste bin was in a completely different location.
Yeah, I mean, you don't. Sorry, Steve, I mean, we mustn't get into this stuff. I mean, well, just to be clear, there are three things that we're looking to put in there: a bench, a litter bin, which would be next together,
Yeah.
and a dog bin, which would be separate from that, because you wouldn't have a bench next to a dog bin.
You do with the one with the
You
Shepperton.
do in Sheffield, but you wouldn't normally by design do that.
No.
Anyway. So, you know, the intention is that we're going to put relocate a bin on there, a little bin there. Yeah. So, yeah, we will do that now, yeah. So we are doing that, but Dave, do you want to just talk about where you're going?
Well, the only thing I suggest is that I can see some of the points that have been raised, you know, in terms of it being on green, that where kids play. And okay, they're probably sound objections. So the point is, where do we move it to? How much does it cost to move it? And if we're going to move it, do we get a contribution? Do we ask for a contribution, either the whole amount or part contribution to moving it?
Well, and there is that, but I mean,
The other thing as well is, if it's moved, then the dogs, and to somewhere where the people can't reach it with the dogs, and it just reverts back to this situation where it was before.
Yeah, so just take it all away.
Yeah.
I mean,
That would be far worse.
Yeah.
Is there a
I mean,
better place in Shepperton for it?
yeah, we don't put dog bins next to the houses unless your name is Hines, basically. But all the others are across a road, like on North Street at that end, North Street at this end.
And I've got one by
Actually, you've got a footpath between you and it.
They're all at handy drop-off places
Yeah.
from walks,
That's right.
whereas Shepperton is not a dog walk.
Well,
apparently it is.
apparently it is.
I can't understand why I think one of the objectors, I think it might have been you, Steve, said that people were backing up the dog mess from the garden and then bringing it to deposit to that bin in Shepperton.
That's everything, yeah.
Well, I find that very hard to believe because you just double bag it and put it in your black bin.
But they're not happening.
Look, can I just, just try and focus the discussion a bit. If we are going to change our mind in the next 6 months, 3 councillors have to say that that's what they want to do to Jackie, and it has to go on the agenda. One thing we could do from this item is we could try to find out what the view is amongst the residents in Shepperton. As in total, and to try and survey them. Now, there is a lot going on, so I'm not quite sure who's going to go around delivering all the bits.
Don't like it.
He's definitely shaking her head. You need the exercise, you
Yeah.
say.
Mhm.
But, we would have to devise, a simple questionnaire and then distribute it to the houses, and they'd either have to put it back into the shop, or they could reply on Facebook.
Could that not be something the residents do?
Could do, so want to do it?
No, we haven't.
Yeah,
I mean, I certainly haven't got time.
yeah.
That
I
would
mean,
be maybe
this is one of the reasons why.
just ask around, you know, sort of do something.
Let's move on.
We'd have to, we'd have to rely on the residents putting it through every single door and not just through the ones that's.
Well, no, we don't make it back again.
Yeah, well, Jackie said she might do it. Yeah. All right. So that would be one way of establishing, one way or the other, whether the residents of Shepperton as a whole want a dog bin there or not. If it isn't, then I think at the next meeting, if the three councillors do come forward and say, yes, they want to resize the decision, then you know, that decision could then be made.
How hard is it to move? Is it something that the
But
residents?
it is concreted in.
Oh, right, okay.
No, it's concrete.
Just asking.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, I make that as a suggestion. Does anyone want to make any other suggestions?
So, as well as doing that, then you then would have to find out where it would be acceptable to be moved to.
Yeah,
And obviously it would not be in Shepperton, it would be in somebody else, opposite the road from somebody else. So you're just moving the problem onto somebody else's position. And then also, would you be willing to pay towards this being done?
yeah.
Could it go down opposite the opening to Shepperton on Station Road? There is a
The problem with that is, that is right next that is next to a house.
No, the other side.
Oh, on the other side?
Yeah,
Nobody's going to cross the road.
I would,
What was it?
certainly would. Yeah.
Not that we wouldn't, and just straight over the gate.
Yeah, the,
Okay.
I mean, I believe the contractor said that actually to be a success, it needs to be near a footpath so that people will actually drop their bags in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, does any councillor want to make a proposal as to how we proceed on this?
Well, we need to do we've agreed we're going to do a survey.
Survey.
You
Yeah.
want to do so?
I'll happily deliver the leavings and collect them.
Okay, all right, we'll design a survey, we'll put it out.
Just to show.
Just to show.
If you need a hand. use it. Okay.
So in the survey, will we ask, A, do they want it? B, where do they want it? And C, are they prepared to?
No, I think you should ask, are you happy with the position of the bin?
Okay, can I suggest we deal with the wording outside of this, because
Yeah.
doing it by committee now is going to be pretty deadly. All right, so that's the resolution. We're going to have we're going to survey the residents, and then depending on the results, we'll bring it back. Whether it will be the May meeting, whether we get a chance to do it for the May meeting or not, I don't know. But we'll do it in the next meeting or two. All right. Good. Let's move on then to 7.5, another interesting one. To consider whether any councillors would like to support and lead the implementation of a 20-mile-an-hour village-wide speed limit. Now, this has been raised on, several occasions. We have got the 20-mile-an-hour limit, as everyone knows, on North Street and South Street, and even in Maltings Field after a slight amendment was made. I mean,
You're not going to run against the brick wall.
my personal view is that people do speed into the village on Hanslope Road, in fact, on all of the entrances, but they're getting, there are people who will speed and people who won't, and those people who will speed will do it, whether it's 20 miles an hour or 30. And I'm not sure where you would do it. I mean, on Station Road, the average speed, which you might say is the obvious one, from when we used to do the SID readings down there, the average speed is something like 15 miles an hour. You get the nutter who tries to race through the narrows, but they are the exception. And the so-called V85, which is one of the stats that we used to use, the 85th percentile, which the police used, was also well below 20 miles an hour. So Hanslope Road is fast as they come in, and then they slow down by the triangle. I wish they'd slow down before. That's where, when the police do enforcement, they pull over a huge number of people, but those people are going to speed anyway. You've got a narrows on the other side of the road there, you know, by the road, which would slow down. Bullington End Road, I personally would like to get, you know, a 40-mile-an-hour buffer zone before you came into the 30, down where, on the other side of Ian's farm. We've asked for that before and it's been rejected, but I think that would be a good one. Actually, once you get into Bullington End Road and past Darren's house, people do slow down because we're all cars.
Can't you?
Yeah.
But the same thing in South Street. So South Street, you think people would be doing 20 miles an hour, but in the morning when the mums are taking their kids to the nursery, they come around the corner by the pub and they're doing 40 or 50 miles an hour, some of them.
But I mean, the point is the 20-mile-an-hour limit doesn't really make any difference.
No, so it's
local people.
People who are idiots will just keep speeding, basically.
Anyway, look, the point is there's a certain amount of effort involved.
There's a lot of effort to be put into this to achieve it, isn't there?
Yeah.
And I don't think the time we spend, or the amount of time you would spend, or Jackie would spend trying to chase these people up, it might take 2 years to get it. Took us 2 years, 3 years to get 20 mile an hour, didn't it?
Wouldn't you be better off putting a calming measure, speed calming measure?
Yeah, big
On
one.
the Hampstead Road?
I mean, there is.
Yeah, the where you have to, but then after that,
Yeah, I mean,
speed bump or.
yeah, the trouble is with
Then
speed
people
bumps
have-
is they are noisy, yeah, and
How far off we off having the speed watch team up and going?
I don't know. I mean, Steve's, you know, really not been able to progress it.
I think it would help if we're regular.
Yeah.
But it would also give some stats as well.
Yeah.
It will, yeah. But I mean, getting the police out, I mean, I used to have a really good relationship with one of the officers. And he used to come out quite regularly, but there's been so much churn really on the police side recently. That, you know, they've not been out recently. That obviously does slow it down. I mean,
Speed.
there is one.
Sign now, just
You're
outside.
not allowed to do.
Not allowed to do it.
The speed.
Can't do it, it's terrible, that.
And you're not allowed to put a speed camera up either, unless there's evidence. Actually, unless the work happens, and you have an active.
Catch
speed
fences.
system.
It's a shame, anyway, that's a shame really, because I got caught in Dunstable doing 26 miles an hour in a 20-mile-an-hour zone, and I had to go on a speed awareness course.
Yeah,
And it is amazing the difference. Survivability between 20 miles an hour and 30 miles an hour is
Huge.
massive.
Yeah.
But in case of an accident.
anyhow. The point is, does anyone want to take this forward? Otherwise, we'll take it off the agenda.
Take it off the agenda.
Yeah, okay, pretty much a change. Right, 7.6 is, so everyone can see this, I'll take it to the camera as well. We were offered 3 copies of the King's portrait.
Putting that covered over there.
Yeah.
There we go.
Basically,
So we applied for one and it has arrived this evening. The question is, you know, whether we try and put it up in here, or the other place we could consider putting it is in the new parish office, up at school.
So you've got to sit and look at it now.
It's not a lot of, not a lot, a lot of people won't see it in the parish office or.
No, well, that's correct.
Put it up
Just like up on top of there.
there.
No, just like on top.
You could put it up.
On the wall.
Point of the disabled,
Huh?
point of the disabled.
No, seriously, you can't put it on the sound platforms. You could put it where one of the notice boards is.
On the middle there, like on the notice board, so it's not there, nobody can touch it. They've got the lobby. Or in the garden.
Well,
In the cupboard.
share that, so.
All right, so the view is that it ought to be in the village hall rather than the parish office.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
I think it's a community thing.
All right, we'll have a discussion
Okay.
separately rather than taking time now. I mean, we could relocate something there, you know, move those two to one side and put up,
Yeah.
anyway. And that's what I'm saying. 7.7 is the Monkey Challenge climbing board. Now, we had a discussion about And again, for residents to know what we're talking about, we received a communication from an organisation that does these so-called monkey climbing frames for kids. And they said that if we were interested in one, they would apply for funding on our behalf, so it wouldn't cost us anything. So that seemed like too good an opportunity to ignore. So the next question was, where would it go? The problem with the fish ponds is because it's Shepperton Ancient Monument, you have to have a supervising archaeologist every time you dig it there, which we know from the clubhouse is something
between 15 and 18.
yeah, 15 to 1800 pounds, which probably wouldn't be covered by the monkey challenge. So we thought about the close play area, but they've already got a climbing frame there.
Too old for that.
And they're too old. So we did think that it might go at the sports ground. And we had a discussion at the clubhouse group. And I think the view was that if it went, where the clubhouse is built, next to it, between that and the tennis court, is going to be the garden area for the clubhouse. So hopefully in time we'll get some picnic tables and things laid out there, and people will be able to sit and have a drink. Now, if you look at it from the cricket field, you've got the line of the tennis courts fence running along there, and if you put it at the back and in line with that, i.e. perpendicular to the park footpath, everyone with me, that would be quite a distance from the cricket, because the cricket reps said, you know, cricket balls will come across. To which we said, well, that will be an issue for anyone having a drink in the garden, so we'll probably have to put a notice up. I mean, I have to say, cricket club, they wish, you know, there you go. But
They somewhere at the sports ground.
yeah,
Yeah,
Well, that's simple.
so that would be a good place, and the feeling was it would probably not have either an attractive or detractive impact on clubhouse.
Might also
usage.
stop children playing on the exercise equipment, which they're not supposed to play on.
Yeah.
So,
So, I mean, on that basis, I mean, what I'd like to suggest is that if that's acceptable to the parish council, we then respond to the organisation that put forward the monkey challenge and said, yes, we'd like it, we'd like it there. Does anyone wish to comment?
Yeah, I think that location is the least likely place for an out of bounds 6 to be scored.
I checked the size of it, and it's 10 metres wide by 2 metres high. It's kind of like a long, you go from one, it's gone across it. It needs a footprint of 4 by 12 metres.
Okay.
Yeah, very good. Simple sports ground.
Yeah. I think if they looked at it there, I think that would be fine. Put it as far back as it can be. It would also incidentally have give the tennis players a bit of privacy when people are sitting in the gardens, so that they're not sort of looking straight at them. And, there you go. All right, very good.
I thought that I'll be looking at people on the gym. The people in the garden.
I should think unlikely people will use the gym while people are drinking there. Though we could put some edging or something to give them a bit of privacy. Right, the next item in that case, if we've agreed that, is that we look at approving expenditure for some parts of the clubhouse. Now, I put a spreadsheet into your pack, which is called fit out costs. And the 2 columns that I'd like you to look at are the ones that are called change orders and cricket club teas. Thank you very much. Yeah, bye now. And you can see that as I run down there, there's some of these have already been approved, like the relocation of the external doors. The path and ramp to the front door has been approved. What we have not approved yet is the path and ramp to the rear fire door, where we had a quote from Hickford in the last month. We have approved the floor tile removal and disposal. We have approved the corridor heating. There are some items there which we haven't yet costed. Fire extinguishers, which I've asked Jackie. I hope that's all right to ask you to look at that, and Dave has got a contact on that. There are going to be some minor purchases which I think Jackie will be able to approve under her authority for various toilet sundries, soap dispensers and so on, and interior signage, which I believe that Lawrence Chapman has agreed now with David Spinelli. And there's a doormat which will basically have a message saying no studs beyond this point to protect the two side corridors from studded footwear, which we had a quote 238. And then later on, there's the bike rack, which is a planning condition, which is not very expensive, and Ian Horn and Luke Jeffries have said they'll fit it. The kitchen ventaxias, and then there's two items which won't come until we actually open the cafe side. So there's that, and then you've got a series of bits of equipment for the cricket tees, which are basically, you need to put a wash hand basin into the kitchen area, a stainless steel prep sink, a wall table, and a shelf, and a waste bin. And apart from that, they'll just have to use their existing equipment. So that all comes to £11,155 on the current estimate, plus bits and pieces that aren't costed yet. We had estimated about 10,000 for that, but of course we didn't know about the asbestos floor tiles or the ramp. Yeah, I mean, so there have been things that come in.
That much, 1,600.
Yeah, because they're commercial ones, they do the job in 2 minutes, as opposed to 30, 40 minutes.
So which are you looking at now?
The dishwasher.
Yeah, that's not for it now anyway. That's for the next phase. But yeah.
And they'll last forever.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about equipment to the standard of the kitchen here, stainless steel, you know, which is,
Okay,
yeah,
just asking.
yeah. But actually, we're not going for most of that at this stage. That would be the basic cafe service, which is a later stage. This is just getting the place ready for cricket tees in May. So I'm asking for your approval for basically these items on block. And there's a specific item in your pack as well for the cricket tees equipment, if you want to look at it, you know, bit by bit, that Lawrence has prepared, and we'd like Jackie basically to authorise. And with this, again, Lawrence and Ian Horn have agreed to install this for us for free, basically, which we greatly appreciate. So that's the proposal. Any questions? No. Okay, so I'll propose that. Second. Thank you. Now I'll go. Russell will just brief you on item 7.9, extending the lease period and why it's necessary. And you need to elect the chair just to agree with this.
I would propose Dave.
Yeah.
Right, the reason for this is currently the lease between the council, Parish Council and the CIC is 10 years, which was a requirement for, I think it was one of the grants we are pursuing from the English Cricket Board. We're also pursuing another one from the Department for Levelling Up. It's called a community something, it's called a COC grant. And the minimum conditions from that is that there should be a lease of at least 15 years. So what I'm asking the council to do is to amend the lease from its current 10 years to 15 years to satisfy the demands for this grant.
Yeah.
This, we've applied for it, but we haven't, yet, heard back from them. Okay.
We agree by the time we get
I'm
the.
gonna say, by the time we get to.
Okay. Should we just get on with it?
Yeah.
You've all heard that,
Agree.
agreed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you can come back now.
So do you need to, can you propose it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should have used it, shouldn't
The name of the grant I've just remembered is community ownership, from the department, nothing else.
All right, 7.10 is just to authorise the clerk to sign the MKC contract for the transfer of the land at the shop on behalf of the Parish Council when and if when we receive this contract, rather than having to wait a month for the next.
Yeah,
meeting.
exactly,
Just allow Jackie to use her discretion, and I'm sure I will go through the contract myself. Can I propose that unless anyone wants to speak?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll agree. The last resolution is to authorise Russell to investigate the provision of broadband from Gigasphere and proceed to order it at the clubhouse. And the reason why we want to do that now is that I think it's all right to say who it is. Gordon, who was here for the earlier part of the meeting, who is a CCTV specialist, has offered to provide CCTV clubhouse for a very tiny sum, 50 quid or something, but many cameras. In fact, I think we probably need to reduce the number of cameras that he's currently proposing, but they will need Wi-Fi. And so I think we probably ought to do this. And just by way of recollection, we've had CCTV at the sports ground on our agenda pretty much since the adult exercise equipment was put in to try and sort of keep an eye on that. You know, I think given that there will in due course be things like alcohol and so on there, or even just, I mean, fortunately, touch wood, we don't have, you know, very much problem with vandalism in the village. But you know, you might get someone just wanting to.
We did have an incident of a break-in there, didn't we?
Sorry?
In the tennis shed.
Well, we're not
Yeah.
quite sure what it was actually.
yeah.
Yeah, we think it might.
Something you could, normally we could spend on it, need to do it, but wouldn't have to get it, we've done it, but there we are.
Yeah.
No.
So anyway, so the proposal is to allow Russell to sort of get on with this. Right, again, I don't know what the lead times are.
Just when the gig are all over, we're gonna get connected up. How long it's gonna take?
There's a deal on at the moment, £22 for 500.
Well, that's not
Yeah.
business broadband.
Oh, is it business?
Yeah,
Okay.
the cheapest business broadband is 100 megabits and it's £60 plus that for 24 months, then it's 88.
How are they gonna get it there, underground?
There's a node already in almost to the pavilion.
There's not,
No, not happening. And then there's £166 activation charge for 1 month.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to need it in due course. I mean, there's a parish office going in there. Not that we expect it to be heavily used. But it's well, certainly not when we've got a clerk living in the village, as we've had with Steve and Jackie. But going back, you know, Karen might have well used it. She was clerk.
Yeah, just to answer Case point, they're doing residential 500 megabits for £22.
Yeah.
And I got it for 17. But the business 400 megabits is £100.
Do we have, does it have to be? It's not a business though, is it? It's like charitable. It's not there to make a profit.
That's the business.
Well, the class of the business Parish Council do it.
If you pay that, which we do, or if you are that registered, which we.
Anyway.
You get somebody near it.
Yeah.
This house, you do it, we pay for it, and then we just put an extender in.
Actually, one of the guys lives so close to the thing that he uses this extender from his house to get the.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
it's like cheaper, yeah.
Okay, are we okay for Russell to go?
Yeah.
What I will do is I'll try and plead my case with the gig to see whether I can get it any cheaper. I did manage to get £3 a month off for the business.
And when they say it's gonna cost that much more, you just say, well, we're not gonna renew it then,
Well,
they'll go elsewhere,
No,
and then they'll
because
just.
you can't contract. It's a business.
Somebody actually has come to the end of their residential gig contract, and she's got 10 quid off.
Yeah, I won't be, if they charge me double.
Okay, right, rather than having a.
Yeah.
Okay, we're okay with Russell doing that, that's all in favour, yeah? Right, in that case, we move on to the payment schedule for this month. And let me just very quickly look at it. So it's basically got Jackie's costs, salaries, printers, key cutting, the NMA reimbursement that Jackie paid herself, and then Michael Lieberfoot, chain link posts and bench repairs, village hall cleaning, cleaning out the bus stops, Castlethorpe news printing, dog bins.
What's the solicitor
Legal.
fees on there?
Yeah, they are. Next one is solicitors' fees for the
Oh, yeah, got it.
Village Green
Yeah.
application, payment for Hickford's, and a couple of small ones for Balk, the training and, well, actually the next one's not that small, the annual subscription to Balk.
Mhm.
And then the usual monthly ones for Clerk's phone and electricity supply, etc. Anyone want to raise any questions on that? Well,
No.
no, in that case, I'll propose it needs a seconder as Darren, and all in favour. Unanimous. Very good. Correspondence received. Any further correspondence?
No.
No. Any other business for noting or including on a future agenda?
Yeah, I've got the police crime figures here, if anybody would like to put it on the village Facebook page and on the website.
Yeah. You notice that there's a wildlife crime.
There's a wildlife crime.
I mean, actually, I will mention this because it is a significant point. It is against the law to cut the hedges between February and usually end of July, isn't it?
To the 31st of August, 1st of September.
It's
1st of
perfectly
September.
legal if you haven't got somebody videoing your hedge of birds going in and out.
Yeah, I'm saying this as a
Yeah, it'll
point.
be
I'm
pretty
saying
sharp.
as a point for residents that you're not allowed to cut your hedges during the bird nesting season,
Which is March till
March.
31st of August.
the 31st of August. I just mentioned that, and
One
one of the crimes that has been reported is for that. In the
Yeah, but
village.
one farm got nicked £40,000.
Really?
Yeah. That would slow you down, wouldn't it?
Mm.
Right, I think everything else, right,
Yes, I'd like to thank, or hope they're going to do the same job as they've been doing the grass around the village this year, which is pretty good. But my problem is they haven't spread down the trees, and what have they done? Trimmed out the trees, and we're going to have more deaths in the village.
I'll raise that.
okay, thank you then.
That's annoyed me immensely. What they've done a fantastic job. They carry on doing like that. It's just a tree.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I've mentioned to you and others, but as and when outside the new pavilion, I would like to donate a seat with Pat Martin.
That's
Okay,
nice.
thank you very much, Ian, that'd be appreciated.
Nice one, yeah.
Anything else? No. Noting, right. Future meetings, I mentioned the public art kickoff meeting next Monday at 7:30 here. And the next meeting of the Parish Council is actually the annual council meeting, which is where all our appointments are made, election of chair, vice chair, responsibilities and so on. So it's a bit administrative, but that's on Monday, the 13th of May. And that's followed by a normal meeting. Right, that is the end of the public part of the meeting. We just had these votes to consider. Thank you very much for coming, and
Thank you very much.
so I will now close the live streaming as well.